pleasure to be here. It is the 5th match of the day here on the H stream, the 10th stream match in general, and we've got a lot in that category to talk about. To your left, my right, is Mr. Shane himself. My name is DJ TJ. Shane, how we feeling? One more game, dude.
We're feeling great, man. And one more game, and it's an absolute banger of a matchup. Akron Blue, Maryville, best of 5 for the 1 seed in the group. It doesn't get much better than that when it comes to day 1 of BBB.
A very contested group. Unfortunately, both Michigan State and Ohio State have had their issues in this group. So Ball State Black, I believe, is sitting in a very comfortable spot. They're done for the day, so they have clinched the 3rd seed. So now all that's left to be determined in this group is who gets the 1st, who gets the 2nd seed, and who gets to play Concord tomorrow.
Yeah, and Speed here taking control on the sidewall for Maryville early. They're going to get the ball out of their own end. Ixo now with enough boost to work, but can't get the touch he wants into the ground. Patty up in the air for the Zips of Akron. 1 touch to the backward, 1 more to the net. Patty puts it in to break the tie early for Akron.
20 seconds in, and Akron strikes first. There's a lot we're going to talk about throughout this series regarding these teams and where they stand in CRL, but fine margins are no stranger of a story to cover, and Maryville kicks it off strong.
Yeah, and TJ, I talked to Patty this week.
I think it's flipped. It's flipped. Akron starts it off strong, but the team names are flipped. Sorry, had to clarify.
I talked to Patty this week, and I said, you're the back-to-back defending champs of Bluegrass. How do you feel coming into this week? And all he told me was, all of EU is pulling up. Well, Patty pulled up too, and if you're Akron, this is exactly the start you want. Maryville was an absolute beast of a team in the fall. They made some adjustments coming into the spring, and Akron's proving that's anybody's game to win.
Already pushing the first minute of this game, and Maryville have yet to really get their chance to showcase their talents. And if there's one thing you can talk about, it's consistency at the top 8 of CRL. And even that has only been a formality. There's many teams who've sat outside the top 12, many newcomers as well to the spring who have now found themselves posted up at this land with a lot to fight for, and then fighting for it all over again at Nationals next weekend. Fisher, a beautiful example. Maryville, a very recent example to Rocket League, especially with the removal of Wade.
Yeah, and Maryville here kind of struggling in the neutral. They're finally keeping it in the Akron end for the first time all game, but as soon as I say that, 5 up with a huge 50 down low out of the end. Patty into the Akron, or Maryville corner, rather, and it's almost looking like Akron is really, really determining the pace of this game early. Not exactly sure what the game plan is for Maryville coming into this one, but super strong play from 5 up in the boys.
We talked about this before we even got into this game, is what is the identity of Maryville? If relating Wave, somebody who's been one of the most consistent pillars of EU RLCS and now coming over to play in North America, somebody who's been that consistent, who do you start to rely on? Well, maybe it's Speed, who gets an incredible save off the post there, but it goes to show that Maryville still have yet to show any offense.
Yes, and the Maryville defense now needing to step up for sure. I think that they need, obviously, to knot this one up at 1 apiece. You don't want to give the other team so much momentum in game 1. I've said this all day, and I'll say it all weekend. Land never feels quite right. If you can find tiny advantages, those add up really, really quick, and you can't afford to give away any advantages. And 5 up here trying to play it to himself, but Knight steps into the middle. Big 50 from Akron. No boost on the side of 5 up, but he tosses it mid to Bullseye. Bullseye tries one off the backward. Little follow-up from 5 up, but to no avail. The shots still coming in from Akron, but still 1-0, 2 minutes to play.
I already mentioned Maryville's potential identity crisis, but there is a lot to guarantee you whenever you see Akron Blue in your lobby. You rely on players like 5 Up and the unexpected nature of players like Bullseye and Patty to give your team that extra edge. And when they're both on and 5 Up is playing as great as he always is, and Patty's making mechanical plays like that, trying to find the pass, there's a lot this Akron Blue can come out and surprise you with. And even a team like Maryville, who has a lot of experience playing this Akron roster. I mean, we're talking about the 3 and the 6 seeds in all of CRL here, with Maryville being the higher seed. Now, granted, again, that was with Wave, and they did showcase decent talents in Open 4 when he subbed out, but still a lot left to be answered from both of these teams, especially on LAN. 2-time defending champion Akron Blue, first-time BBB comer Maryville, and a shot on net is one of their best looks of the entire game, and it's still off.
Yes, and the conversation that we've had about Akron for most of this year is consistency. Which version of Akron are we going to get on any given day? And they can show up and really kind of perform not to the level that they want, or they can show up like they did in Fall Open 3 and win the entire weekend. And I think that that should be Akron's goal all weekend at BBB is let's be consistent. Let's be the team that we can be, trust each other, play team ball, and we'll see what happens.
It's almost easy to forget, says 5UP almost finds a wild 90-degree drop there, but it's almost easy to forget what happened in Open 3. Because of how crazy this season has been, Akron are Open winners and for a reason, and maybe they are in a slight slump whenever you look at how Open 4 was and potentially the Crack Gaming tournament or however other many tournaments you want to look at, Colleague as well. Again, it's hard to answer, and Maryville will try to finally even things up, but it took them almost the entire game.
And the kid that stepped in for relating wave, Knight, comes up, puts it back shoulder, and just not able to get there for Akron. That's the exact play that you need from Maryville. 24 seconds to play. We're knotted up.
Completely even here for the dying moments of game number 1. We got a very good game 5 matchup with Northwood and Fisher. And that match and this match were scheduled back-to-back for a reason. If you love good Rocket League, if you love high-level Rocket League, these are the teams you look out for. These are the plays that define a game. And Knight gets completely blocked and rejected by 5UP. Now Speed will try and put something back on. Ixo goes flying across the net. Can Bullseye find any sort of a counter? He'll keep it up. Potentially dangerously, but nobody wants a piece. There's a lot of respect given as we head into OT.
In OT, it's all about getting the early one. You don't want this to go to 5 minutes and have the hands shaking. 5UP with a free possession here out of his own corner. Takes a pop off the sidewall, questionable at that. Patty up his own backboard. Akron looking to get out quick. 0 boost for both Patty and Bullseye as Speed sends it back into the Akron end. He'll take one more touch to the backboard. Patty to save the day. Ixo back alone on defense though for Maryville. Takes a 50 to the corner. 5UP collects. Corner off mid. That's an incredible angle, but not finding the back of the net. 5UP almost ending it right there.
All right, we can breathe for at least a slight second here, but Akron could still end it. Patty goes back on net, but Ixo reaching back, Odell Beckham style, able to find that catch or a save, or however you want to call it at this point, as we're almost a full minute into overtime. But it has been all Akron this entire game, and the theme hasn't changed. Another shot for Bullseye to call it, and that he will a minute in.
And TJ, right before that goal goes in, I looked at the boost meters, and Akron is full with the exception of Patty that just swept the net. You're not going to play too good a defense if the other team's sitting in your end with full boost.
My. You want to talk about a hot start to the last group stage match of the entire day? This is perfect for Akron. And we didn't even talk about this in the mini pre-show as well, but the head-to-head with Maryville, regardless of Knight or Wave being in, it is 6-1 since Summer Series of 2024. We are coming up of a year worth of games where Maryville has only dropped a singular series. It was a best of 5 as well, and it went the distance. So Akron, with not only the chance to finally get back on their feet in terms of the entire scene of CRL, but also to finally find a win against Maryville, which has not been easy.
Yeah, and I like you say that it has not been easy to get wins against Maryville, and they have Calix running the show behind the scenes, somebody that's been in the upper echelons of Rocket League for years now. And these are the moments where he gets to talk to the guys and they get to make those adjustments. And I completely believe that we will see an entirely different version of Maryville in game 2 and for the rest of the series. But as you said after that game, it doesn't get any better starting the last series of the day like this.
You can never count out anybody in any roster on the entire top 8 of CRL, let alone people like Ixo and Speed. Their RLCS experience speaks for themselves, as there's so much to go over in terms of their history. Speed, I believe, has even won a seasonal MVP, I think in a summer league, I want to say. I thought I had that written down, but I did not have it in my notes, so we're just going to go with it. He's got an MVP-level performance he can always whip out for Maryville if they need to, but again, there needs to be an answer to the previous question, and where does Knight fit into the rotation? Well, he's demoed for now.
Yeah, and Akron puts the pedal to the floor to start game 2. I thought we'd see Maryville jump out to a hot start, but Patty picking up right where he left off. That's 1-0, 4:27 to play.
5 Up has never had to be the main aggressor for this Akron Blue side. Him playing second or third man is where Akron Blue wants to be. And if Patty can be the first man who continues to find opportunities for his teammates to work, Akron Blue is going to be in a really pretty spot to potentially win 3 straight BBBs in a row. But we are very removed from that timeline. We've got to wait till Sunday. We've got to wait till the end of today to even get there. And Akron's got to survive this game. We're only a minute in, but they do find the lead.
And 5 Up here collecting the ball in his own half as Knight takes a very ambitious dive into the Akron net. And Bullseye looking to keep pressure, floating on Ixo. Ixo pinching the ball down to Patty. Patty reads it, has it all the way, flip to the mid speed, catches it in stride as 5 Up takes it up the wall. Ixo jumps in the way, can't quite get the touch. And man, Maryville is really playing like a ticky-tacky, trying to get it out of their end. And I really want to see them try to put together an offensive push right here.
Again, we have yet to see them find major offensive opportunities. I mean, even though they did find 1 goal last game, it was off of maybe their only positive 30-second stretch of real offense, and another egregious play, this time made by Akron. We'll try to make sure that that doesn't change. Knight could change that, though, off the top, and all 3 members of Maryville have dove and completely given up their net. A complete force, and 5 Up steals it, but what is this from Maryville?
I'd like to see the replay again. I don't think the third man from Maryville expected that ball to 50 up off the underside of Ixo's car, but man, that's a tough break if you're Maryville. Down 2-0, just over 3 minutes to play.
Akron, you will take it. If you go up 2-0, I mean, it's like what happened with Ball State and Concord earlier. It's on paper an upset, but based on what we're seeing with our own eyes, it doesn't feel like that at all. If anything, Maryville, it feels like they should be the lower seed. It feels like they're going to struggle to find their way out of Sunday, but that's what today is all about. You have room to make mistakes. You've already clinched the top 2 seed. You've clinched upper bracket. It's a matter of who are you going to have a date with, and are you going to be on the St. Clair Green side or the Northwood side?
Yeah, and Patty's surprising me so far with the mechanical performance. I really like to see it. Bullseye trying to collect it in his own corner. He'll play it up the field. Reset 1. Flips a little late. Bullseye looking for a heroic play here. Bullseye high off the backboard. Ixo jumping in the way, but 5 Up's here to keep the pressure on Maryville. Ixo going to elect to just bang it out, try to give his team some time to buy boost, but Bullseye in the box for Akron. This could get dangerous real quick as Speed's able to take it away. That's veteran defensive leadership from Speed.
It's just a weak touch with not a whole lot of boost to work with from 5 Up. A surprising play there, but now Bullseye's looking for something crazy down to 5 Up, who does find it. Even 50 players are bumped out as well, and now Speed look for maybe a mini Psycho to try and free up some room for Ixo to go to work, but what work can be done with the amount of boost that Maryville has on their side? I mean, if it's a total amount you wanted to count on their tanks right now, you can see it on your screen. It's not positive, but now here comes Akron using a lot of their boost, but now here comes a potential counter. This one is on net. It's not Patty's best touch, but it does at least stall an inevitable shot, and it allows for 5 Up to come in and cut. Ixo now off of the corner of Akron, tries to find more. 5 Up meets him there for now. A lot of members of Akron are up for this one. Bullseye, a massive read to saw at the Maryville side. They're going to completely reset with 90 to go.
Yeah, and Maryville finally starting to get some boost while in the midfield. Every time that they've had full tanks, they've been backed all the way up to their own net. And as I say that, 5 Up tries to drop one down to Bullseye, and Akron gets another goal. Maryville just kind of looking around trying to figure out what's going on. This Akron attack has been relentless.
Again, he doesn't have to be the shooter. He just needs to be the space creator, the space maker, the pacemaker of this Akron Blue side. That's exactly the role that 5 Up fills, and even when he's not scoring, the team is.
He does, and Speed takes to the sky against 5 Up, who takes another decent 50, but Knight drops it down mid. Ixo elects not to challenge the ball until late and just kind of buys time for Speed. Ixo up early, Speed off the backboard, dangerous touch, but Knight can collect and get it up into the midfield to 5 Up, who takes a defensive touch backwards. Ixo striking from the top of the box, puts it down right, but no good. Patty hits it away, and Akron back into the Maryville half.
You needed that if you're Maryville. It's as plain as day. You got a minute left. You would have loved to get a counter started or maybe a comeback or both of some kind, but now here comes Akron once again, who have really set up shop in the Maryville half, and Maryville have only been able to do so much about it. 5 Up, a potential Psycho, potential own goal as that loud ding of the crossbar comes through, but it's a 1v1 for Patty, who's on Speed off the backboard, back to himself. Touch will be high, and now a fellow American will meet him there. It's Knight trying to push this one away. Speed reset for a 50. It'll be a 5 Up double instead, and a great touch to push it away, but Knight is there, but with 20 seconds left, you need a goal now.
Yeah, and Akron acting like they need a goal now, as well as Patty puts one high and wide, but 5UP collects it, shoots it up into the middle, and man, their clock is ticking down. Maryville running out of time, and this one's going to hit the ground, and Akron's going to head into the game on game 3 on match point.
Not just match point, we're talking about a 3-0 game 2. Obviously, we know, and talking with all the players here, we know better than anyone how close these teams are and how close these teams believe they are. But what in the world is this? It's absurd that Akron has made their way into a 2-0 lead. I was less surprised to see the Ball State win because of their history. But knowing, with or without Wave, even without Speed being on this roster, Maryville's always had Akron's number, no matter who's been playing, and here we are, Akron's up 2-0.
Yeah, TJ, and as much as I respect Akron and as much as I know that they can show up and absolutely dominate, if you told me it was going to be 2-0 after 2 games in Akron's favor, I'd tell you were lying. and I'm sorry to say that, but man, I think Maryville really needs to try to take control of the midfield and use their boost to do something other than play defense.
It has been a tough fall from grace for Maryville. They spent the first 2 CRL Opens getting 12 points and 12 points. And to do translation for you, that's 2 second places. Since then, 4 points and 3 points. And I believe that is a top 6 and a top 8 that divides that. So Maryville, a very rough back half of the season, and the woes continue for the time being.
Yeah, and Maryville in those standings finds themselves sandwiched right between Concord, the champions from the fall, and Northwood, the titans of all time that we know. And man, they haven't really shown us that version of themselves yet. We've talked about Knight being subbed in for Relating Wave. It's not the team that we've seen, as we have a little bit of technical difficulty on our side.
Oh, we're back. Slight packet loss, but we're going to continue on with the point that we were trying to say. So no disconnection, but just a weird packet loss logo on our end at least. Hopefully it's not on stream. Meanwhile, we'll see a few pre-jumping Maryville players trying to make something happen, but the packet loss seems to hopefully disappear as we get another slight freeze. We're just going to cast through it. All of a sudden, it was almost in the Maryville net again.
Yeah, and Bullseye here off the sidewall into the mid. 5UP up aggressively against Ixo. This one not heading into the mid until Patty gets the touch. Patty up, 0 boost, goes for the dunk low, can't find it. Ixo off the sidewall. Knight upfield to 5UP. That's going to be a semi-free collection for Akron until the demo comes through, but Patty up against Knight. Knight trying to find the ball into the middle for a teammate, but Bullseye's there to 50 it into the Akron end. 5UP goes low. Speed says no.
This one's going to be given away. It's the other Akron corner after Speed made a pretty decent play to force another great play from Eek. So a whole lot of demos starting to come out for Maryville. Another one comes in there, and now on their defensive half, they won't be able to go pursue one just yet, but Bullseye just happens to land up near that ball after, I believe, jumping early and getting bumped, or a mix of the two. Now this ball ends up middle in the hands of 5UP, who will beat Knight, will find a touch high for Bullseye to get a beat as well. These types of plays down to a car length is what Akron Blue specializes in. They have a system, they have a great group of 3 who has a great amount of chemistry as well, and can they do it for the next 2 minutes and finish this series off where it stands?
Yeah, and TJ, regardless, we've seen a lot more breathing room so far for Maryville this game, as 5UP goes up with 100 boost on Ixo, and great save there from Speed. But yeah, the demos that Maryville is bringing, I think, is clearing a lot of space, and you can't just let a team set up and play comfortable defense. I don't know if that came from Calyx or what, but love the adjustment from Maryville in game 3.
Something tells me it's got to be Calyx. I mean, he's going for his grad for a reason, but you might want to put the books down because Akron just got there first.
Yeah, Bullseye finds the back of the net, kind of caught Maryville's defense sleeping there. He's in the blind spot of Ixo, and Bullseye just gets to kind of loft one down towards an open net.
2 minutes to go and more issues. Hopefully it's just on our end and it's not on the player's end, as it looks like we're not going to get a lobby pause. So I would guess it's only on production end that we're having issues, but Speed having none, finding the post, but nothing more than just the crossbar, and that will not bounce in. Does force a double commit though. Ixo finds a shot, but this is going to be a counterattack for potentially Patty. It looks like not. Knight's able to get a beat on him, but no major follow, and a double commit for Maryville as well. There's a lot of room for 5UP.
Yeah, boost control kind of continuously trading hands here. Neither team really gobbling all of it up as Bullseye plays it dangerously back towards his own net, and Ixo gets a free one there. They couldn't buy a goal until then, but man, you love the break if you're Maryville. 1-1, 1 3/4 to play.
That right there was a little concerning for Bullseye. I'm not sure why we're letting that one fall away, and especially up 2-0, up 1-0 in this game alone. You take it if you're Maryville, I guess, and you may find another off the kickoff, but Patty is going to try and defend his own net and also find a play forward. Will win the first 50, but this is going to stay in the midfield for the time being.
Yeah, Bullseye playing it down into the Maryville end. A double demo coming through for Akron. 5-up shoots on an open net, and it's 2-1. Every single time Maryville ties it up, they work so hard for that, and Akron finds a way to get one immediately, TJ.
I don't understand what Maryville on defense has become this game. It's just messy, it is confusing, and from what we're used to seeing in terms of their standard of play, as a kickoff goal almost came through once again for Maryville, it's concerning, and now the net could open up again. Patty will have to take possession for now, trying to wave dash his way into another dash, try and open up a chance for Bullseye to go top corner, and Knight does read it well. A bump comes through, 5-up, reset, bottom corner, bait, 2, and Patty, it's ones across the board, but we're looking at a 3-0.
Yes, we are, TJ, and Bullseye told me himself, he said, we always feel good as a team. It comes down to if we can execute individually. That's exactly what we're getting from Akron today. We're getting 3 guys that look like a well-oiled machine. They're playing well by themselves, and they're playing well together, and it's adding up into a winning equation.
1 minute left, and Akron will walk out of here 3-0 over Maryville, which would be a very unfit description of how this series has felt at times, but Akron always finds a way to up the deficit for Maryville, and now all they have to do is something that I've always seen Akron do on and off land, is just play consistent defense and get some bumps to free up the room.
Yeah, and if Maryville wants to keep this series breathing, they need one soon. Under 40 seconds to go. You need to get 2 to force OT as Knight plays it into the Akron corner, but with 0 boost, he can't keep it going. Ixo loses a 50 into his own end. Speed up to save the day. It's dropping down mid, but Ixo back to the right Maryville corner. Half boost out of his own end. He's probably going for one more touch mid. Knight already up, intercepted by Bullseye, and then to 5-up, who goes for the Drawley Psycho touch off his own corner, and Akron looking confident still.
10 seconds left. It's all formality, Shane. Akron Blue have, I won't say done the impossible, but it feels like we're dreaming right now. No matter who would have won this series, 3-0 was not on my bingo card, but you might as well call it now because this ball hits the ground and Akron Blue doesn't do it once, doesn't do it twice, 3 times over Maryville with no contention.
Yeah, and what a performance from Patty. Patty came in and he was just like, yeah, man, like however we do. And, you know, I think that might have worked in his favor. They didn't have super high expectations. They knew that today was a group stage day, but they showed up and they played more than well enough to secure that seed out of their group. And man, usually group stages, TJ, are just like, let's just get this out of the way and deal with seeding. Today was an absolute banger.
The mission for Akron. I mean, they seriously want to defend home turf, not only against the European invasion of CRL, but now it's the European invasion of Lexington. And they've done a great job today in defending their title. A lot of the American teams have done great. Ball State, Akron, and Northwood are all going to top their group officially.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't really expect the Concord one, but I think the other groups, as crazy as some of the series turned out with UTK taking both Northwood and Fisher to Game 5, I think that the seeding was obviously done very well. Kudos to you and the other admins. But yeah, it shook up, very entertaining, but I think it ended the way that it should.
I mean, overall, what more can you ask for? We don't have a lot of confirmation to go over. We're going to save a lot of that for tomorrow, but I can tell you all this. Group C second place is now going to belong to Maryville, who is now going to play Ball State in the second upper bracket quarterfinal. Meanwhile, Akron will find their place in the fourth quarterfinal going against Concord. So we get to see how Group C and D intertwine and how they go out on top. So before I go do this interview and then I call the stream for the day, Shane, give me very quick fire predictions. It is Akron versus Concord. It is Maryville versus Ball State in uppers. So hopefully we'll see them more throughout the day, but in uppers, how are they going to do?
So Concord, I think, got their shakiness out of the way today. I think Concord's going to go in tomorrow with a much better vision. I think that, you know, the nerves of BBB are going to be a little bit more to the wayside. I think Concord's going to take care of that. Maryville, I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they're going to discuss what happened today. I don't think that this series was anywhere near what Maryville can bring to the table. I think Maryville takes care of that one as well.
Okay. Completely reasonable. I might as well throw my own down. I think that Akron here in Kentucky is buffed. As we're getting a quick view as to what is this person doing on their phone, not sure. They're going to hide it away now. I agree. I think Akron is going to take Concord. I think it's going to go to 5, but I think Akron may get the best of them for the one time. I think later in the day, though, we may see that change if they play again. And then obviously with Maryville, Ball State, give me Ball State. I really do think Ball State's going to be top 3 at this LAN. They've looked really good as of recent, no matter how much you care about Open 4 or not. And I'm excited to see. But Shane, any last notes before we go get this interview?
No, TJ. I mean, you crushed it. Everybody crushed it today. Teams, players, admins. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We appreciate Gen G, our sponsor, and everybody else sponsoring the event. TJ, you would know those better than I do. But it's been an absolute blast, and I cannot wait for Championship Sunday.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go grab somebody from Akron to interview. So give us 1 second as we're going to go get that configured out. And then we are going to call it a day. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run it on stage, Shane.
Awesome.
All right, so we are live here on stage in Lexington with 5UP, a one-time BBB winner, but teammates with 2-time BBB winners, and a great 3-0 as well over Maryville. Even though Maryville has had their fair share of ups and downs, you guys as well, what were you expecting out of this series today?
We thought it would be a little bit closer. It felt a little bit too easy, but I think we were just playing well. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we were joking that you guys may be buffed in Kentucky. I don't know what it is about Akron finding their place on home soil, but Patty joked a lot about the invasion of the Europeans to CRL, and especially here at LAN. How do you guys feel about tomorrow's matchup? I believe, based on what we said on stream, you guys are going to be playing Concord. How are you feeling about that matchup?
The only time we've ever beat Concord is here, so confident.
Yeah, last time you guys matched up in the single elimination Elite 8, which is pretty crazy. Luckily, this year it's double elimination. So am I hearing confidence or am I hearing we'll see?
Confidence. If Ball State can beat them, we can.
Okay, all right. Well, then I got one more question for you, and then we'll get out of here. So last match of the day, you guys have been here for a lot of hours. We have all been here for many hours. Is Lexington at least treating you guys nice?
Yeah, it's been really nice. Thank you.
Okay, well, it is a pleasure to talk to you, 5UP. Best of luck tomorrow, and congrats on the 1 seed in your group. We appreciate it. So on that note, that is all that we have for day 1 of the Bluegrass Boost Battle Spring of 2025. Thank you to UKY Esports. Thank you to Gen G. But the action does not stop today. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., we have a double elimination bracket with 12 of the best teams across the entire nation at the most stacked LAN that you've ever seen in Collegiate Rocket League and potentially Collegiate Esports. So without further ado, thank you to our partners. Thank you to all the casters and staff who have been here, and we've still got a full day tomorrow. My name is DJ TJ. See you tomorrow morning.
We've heard it before. Just wait. Wait for your moment. Wait for your turn. Not today. Not here. At the University of Kentucky, we run to challenges. Here, we know the world is asking tough questions. At UK, you'll help find the answers. Here, we always get back up. Because you're part of the Big Blue Nation, a community that will support you and push you further. Wait. Wildcats don't wait. Wildcats never stop.